Oh, there we are. My phone still won't let me go live to start this stream. I don't know why. Um, can you hear me? I had to set up my laptop and a microphone very quickly. Hopefully, people can hear me. It says at least one person's on. Thank you, Steph and Hazel. Oh my gosh. Like, there's something about launching a book where everything is stressful and nothing ever works right. Um, so thank you, everyone who's here, for coming to my live. I apologize for, thank you, Hazel. I apologize for the less than stellar video quality. Hopefully the audio is okay. Like I said, I got the full on mic here, like a podcaster here. I'm going to move it so you can still see my book cover. Oh, I know, Steph, right? How weird is it that we're like all here on a different app? Sorry, I'm moving things now because, technology. Yesterday was my launch day. I still doesn't feel real. I'm just, I don't know. And of course, so much went wrong. So much went right. We had snow in our area, and the fact that the roads were clear enough that people were able to travel here was honestly amazing. I was stressed out for about a week going into the launch day because I was so certain that people weren't going to be able to make it. I had people coming from super far north. So for reference, this was in Enumclaw, Washington, which is, I don't know how far away that is from the Canadian border, but I had a friend come down who only lives like 20 minutes away from the Canadian border, anywhere from a 2 to 3 hour drive for her. So I desperately, was like, come on. I think there's supposed to be a few more people on. So I guess I'm just going to reminisce for a little bit longer. A few things that I have planned today is I'm going to read only the prologue. I don't want to do a whole reading at the live. I read 11 pages, which is the prologue, chapter 1 and chapter 2. On a YouTube live, that doesn't feel, good to do. I don't really want to do that. And the prologue, this is not the book I read from. I'm trying really hard not to bend the spine or anything because I couldn't find the book. The prologue is only, 3 pages. But hey, it's a good time to show off. All of my chapters start out with a black page with that. And all of my scene breaks are these little blasts right here. I actually made those. I wanted it to look like, it was a blast of the energy being thrown. I thought it was cool. The chapter pages were not my idea. The circle was my idea because my cover artist designed the shield circle and I've used it aggressively in my marketing. And I sent it to my formatter at Enchanted Ink Publishing, and they're awesome. And they came up with it. Hazel says my chapters are great. My grandma says my book is really good, by the way. People should buy it. So I was going to read the prologue, take any questions people had. And I also, and these are silly, and I know they're silly, I have 2 Mad Libs that I wrote. They're very poorly written, like all Mad Libs are. Those kind of stilted sentences. So-and-so went to the noun. The noun was really adjective. What is a Kirkus review? I feel like I know that word, but my whole brain just stopped. I'm tired. By the way, one of the biggest lessons I've learned from this was, 1, do not make your live on the same day as the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is always in February. My birthday's in February, and I have yet to ever remember that those 2 are, happening in the same month. And also, I am still kind of tired from yesterday, so I slept in. So as you can see, I'm rocking, the chic wet hair, trying to get the drunk waves to cooperate, but they won't. I don't know why. I try. And all I've eaten today is a cookie because I was like, I need something. As soon as this is over, I have a massive salad I'm going to eat and a piece of really tasty vegan pizza from Papa Murphy's. So it's still just showing the three of us, but you know what? That's okay. Like if this is all we get for the next hour, it's not the end of the world. It's hanging out with friends. I am still miffed that I'm not on my phone though. I don't like the camera quality. Those are really not that bad. When I had to switch to that, the webcam, I assumed it was going to be awful. So I guess before I start, does anyone have any preliminary questions about how yesterday went? Also, there's no giveaway yet. I am thinking about hosting one through social media. I thought trying to do one during a YouTube live, which I've seen other people do it. And also when I am this tired and frazzled, which it just wasn't going to be a good experience for anyone. Ooh, what was my favorite part of yesterday? Oh, I can't even choose. I can think of so many things that went wrong. And then I was like, gosh, what went right? Honestly, and this is kind of silly. I think my favorite part was that my goddaughter was there. Like that was one of my absolute favorite parts because I wasn't expecting her to be there. And it was just like, oh, it was just so special. She talked a lot during my reading, which I thought was hilarious. My other favorite part was the fact that the roads were clear, but just seeing it. Oh yeah, she's adorable. I won't be showing her because I don't share children publicly, but like, just know she's like the cutest thing that's ever lived. I'm very biased though. But I think my favorite part was the questions. I did a Q&A, a reading. And since I had so many friends and family in the audience, people were really supportive. No. Sorry, I haven't gotten a lot of time to process. No, my favorite part were the actual young adults, people under 18, so not really adults, who came up to meet me. There was one girl, I'm just going to call her A, because again, I don't like to share public children stuff publicly. That was a friend's coworker's kid who really, really wanted to meet me. Like this girl's already writing whole books at her age. I think she was 11, 12. I could be wrong. And she wanted to talk to me and she had questions. And I've been told by some people that I inspired them, which is just like, oh. But being a YA author and having actual kids want to talk to you and want to read your book is just, I'm going to cry if I think about it too much harder, actually. Like there was another group, dad was there. Well, dad and mom were there and they had 6 kids, which is so many kids. I'm in awe. I don't know how they do that, but they called all their kids in because I give away free stickers. Oh, thank you, Hazel. Oh, sorry. My eyes watering. But they brought in their kids and he's like, oh, this is right up your alley. And 2 of them actually did end up buying my book. They're like, your book sounds really good. And the one girl, A, I also gave her my business card with my email directly on it so she can reach out to me. Her mom's like, can you read her book? And I was like, I don't know. This is my first one. I don't know if I'm the best person, but maybe. So yeah, it was just getting to see actual people from my age range come in, because what I've heard from a lot of other young adult authors and what I feel personally is the most important part of what we do is inspiring children and obviously younger adults. The purpose of a YA book is generally to teach some sort of lesson. It's to, get kids more into reading. And if you can be the author that helps a child along that journey, it's just, it's nuts. And that's what I'm hoping to have happen is more kids pick up my books, more kids learn. And one of the main lessons that I consider for the Shield, it's actually on one of my stickers that's out in my car. My car is completely packed still, by the way. I'm literally driving to a Super Bowl party, all of my author gear, because I just can't. But one of my stickers is gold shiny and it says choose your own destiny. And that's one of the things that I want people to learn from my book, especially children, is that you can choose your own path. You get to do what you want with your life. It's your life. And things aren't necessarily always what they seem. I also want children and people in general, not just children, to see like my story of how I became an author and go, hey, I can do it too. because, I worked on this book for 8 years. Also, it's kind of weird holding this up with the picture behind it, but I worked on this book for years. I dreamed about it for decades, and I'm now doing it in my officially mid 30s. And that's one of the things that I like to preach about, as it were, is you can, do anything. It's never too late to start. It's never too early to start. Although, man, that kid already has me blown out of the water with how much he's written. Anyways, I am going to just read the prologue real quick. As I said, it's short. Oh, you know what I didn't do yesterday that I'm going to do today? I'm going to read my dedication. I should have read it. My grandma was there, because the book dedication is, I dedicate this book to my grandma, Charlotte. Ever since I was a little girl, I said I would dedicate my first book to my grandma, who always believed in and supported me. This is for you, Grandma. I love you. I will say, she bought multiple books for me because she's my grandma and she's the best. I did, and for the book that she bought for herself, I signed her dedication page instead of the front page. I was like, Grandma, you're getting it different. And all the books I signed, if it was someone I didn't know, I just wrote my name if that's what they wanted. Or I wrote Choose Your Own Destiny. Because it's not, the tagline is save the universe or save each other. But the lesson is, choose your own destiny. But for all my friends and family who I knew in real life, I just signed it. I love you. So that's what I signed first. Yeah. So again, this is 2.5 pages. We're like 15 minutes in. So I think the people who are joining are probably here. So again, I got cool books. Prologue, The Spirit. We did it, Shield. Anna coughed violently. Conserve your energy. Blood trickled from the side of her host's mouth, which was currently her mouth too. The warm liquid slid down their neck and numbness spread through their limbs. She commanded their body to move, but nothing happened. The gray sky above them grew unfocused, and blinking didn't help. I knew what I was getting into, and I know I'm dying. Anna coughed again, quieter this time. You did well. All living beings are safe thanks to you, Anna. You're right about that. Their mouth pulled up at the sides for a moment before going slack. A great wrenching sensation engulfed the spirit before she was jerked from her host and thrust into darkness. I did this during the in-person. I just announced the scene breaks because I am not a professional narrator and I don't know how to make it more obvious. So scene break. You get too attached to your hosts. The raspy voice snapped her back to consciousness. She opened her ethereal senses, homing in on her enemy. The transition from host to other was jarring. Cold tendrils brushed her awareness, and she mentally shoved them back. What do you want? She responded. You are illogical. All light beings are. Mortals die. I do not understand why you get attached. One is much like the other. If she could sigh in this form, she would have. She settled for attempting a sigh-like sound in their link and failed. She missed having lungs. You would never understand. Your purpose is to kill life and light, but I will stop you every time. Its grating laughter jarred her. I only need to win once, and I can do this forever. Humans multiply infinitely, and our host's lines have always been bountiful. I will burn through bodies until I destroy you. It vanished, cackling. She missed having eyes to roll. She sent a shaking sensation through her form, attempting to recreate the feeling of casting off water when she was in her host's body. Darkness soon slipped across her awareness, and she drifted into hibernation. Scene break. She awoke with a bolt of terror. Shards of glass flew by her face, and she reflexively cast a golden shield of energy around herself as the strange box she was in imploded. The screech of rending metal became her world, and screams pierced her ears. Hands covered them, hands she had not commanded. What is this? Within the safety of her golden sphere, she looked down at small, outstretched arms. The hands and arms were pale and freckled. Bang! The box around them shuddered, and everything ceased. The silence was deafening. The consciousness she'd accidentally shunted aside stirred. This is too soon. Mommy? Daddy? Her body whimpered. All will be well, child. Reaching inward, the spirit put the little girl to sleep. Her body drifted gently into the wreckage, slumping forward when it landed. And the next chapter, which again, the beautiful pages, will be from Amy's point of view in the present day, as it were. The book switches back and forth primarily between Amy and Connor. There are a few chapters at the end that are from different points of view, but I don't want to spoil it too badly. This is book 1. We've got the little one on the side. Book 2, not that anyone's asked yet, but they asked at the live. There will be a book 2. I'm kind of hoping a spring launch next year, but with how slow everything ends up being and how many, I'm not holding my breath until I know for sure. Because I did learn from this book that I need a 3-month buffer when you're ordering physical copies. 1 month is not enough. Don't do that. I learned to give extra time to everything. And I haven't actually started writing book 2. Oh, yes. So Hazel said she loves when the spines of a book are numbered. Me too, because I have mixed up books and I read a series out of order once and I'm still upset about it. And me being me, I just kept reading. I'm like, I must have just missed something. Yeah. Again, I heavily use the gold circle everywhere I can. My cover artist, art by Carrie, Karri, she's amazing. So I always plug her. Yeah, like the back of the book has the forest, we got the gold line and everything. I'll pause if there are any questions anybody has again. I know there's still not a lot of us on here, but that's okay. And then we can go into, let you guys choose which Mad Lib we do. So do you have any questions? Anything I didn't address yesterday? Anything they just want to ask? Water break. Okay. I will attempt to avoid spoilers. I feel like I should keep talking while you type, but I don't know what to say. Yeah, I think the next time I do this, I might have the live be the day after. Still isn't bad. It'll just be later in the day and not scheduled on the same day as a big American sports game. So the beings jumping between bodies, are they in single hosts throughout this book? Oh, okay. No, that's not really a spoiler. So they aren't hopping between bodies. The way, I don't know why I'm holding the book. The way that the spirits work is the separate spirits. There's the sword and the shield. The shield wants to protect all life. It was created by the universe to defend itself. And the sword was created by the darkness that was there before the universe in an attempt to destroy all light and life, because the darkness, it was silent, it was peaceful, and light and life, as we know, are not peaceful. We are loud. We exist. And so the sword and the shield have been battling each other for millennia. But throughout each battle, they slowly get more and more weak. About 200,000 years ago, they came to Earth, which I've classified in my book as the epicenter of life. It's where life really got started, as the most prolific. And they found on Earth that the most ideal hosts for them were humans. And in the process of possessing humans, it became a line. So it's every few centuries or so, they come back into the human host. The human hosts are descended from those original hosts. Because they've been fighting for so long, they need a lot more time to recover in order to be able to fight again. So they follow down the host's lines, and it doesn't have to be a direct descendant. As I actually say in there, there's always a cousin somewhere. I think that might be a direct quote from Connor, but there's always a distant cousin somewhere. So as long as somebody is somehow distantly related to those original humans, the host can come back into that body. They come into the body when the child is born, and they awaken at whatever point. It happens to be when they're teenagers for this generation. And they stay within that body until it's time to battle. And then when the bodies and hosts fight, the spirits leave after the battle's concluded. And up until this point, it's always been the shield who wins, which is why the sword says it only has to win once. So the spirits are just in those bodies. Connor grew up knowing he was the host of the sword. His family is a member a secret society called the Sheath, because I'm original at naming things. And they knew what he was when he was born, because they have a more direct connection with the sword, whereas the shield never had that. The shield was never worshipped. People use the sword for its power. I like to think, because this isn't, I didn't develop a ton of the background characters, I like to think some of the people who use the Sheath's power because it doesn't have the best track record for winning. They just keep using its power and supporting it. And then they're like, if it loses again, I still get the power. If it wins, oh no, the world's over. I'll be dead. Who cares? These are not good people, by the way. It's a very small society, but it is a powerful one. I hope that answered the question. Kind of rambled. Any other questions? Thank you. I'm going to try to delve more into the world building in book 2, because book 2 is going to be darker than book 1. It's still going to be spice free. I've decided this series is going to stay spice free. But I want to focus more on kind of the trauma of what happens to them in book 1. I want to focus some more on the background. I have a general idea of the ending. I need to sit and develop everything, though. I'm a pantser, which for those that don't know means I write by the seat of my pants. But this is going to require a bit more of plotting. I mean, the good news is in my normal day-to-day life, I am more of a plotter by nature, but for some reason with reading or writing, I just am not. I'm like, let's go. I know points A, B, and C. I don't know what happens in between them or how we get there, but I know where we're going. Yeah, any other questions before I pull out a Mad Lib? I think it's still just the 3 of us, so I'm just going to make you guys do a Mad Lib with me because that sounds fun. Yes, lower risk. That's also why I don't do like historical books, by the way, because it I don't want to research and get things wrong. I don't think I have the experience at this point with writing to do it. I wonder if there's a way to do, well, since there's only 3 of us, what's the point of doing a poll? There's a way to do a poll, though. Okay, so I'm going to put a poll in the chat. I have 2 Mad Libs. We might do both. Okay, you should see the chat or the poll. There we go. So I have 2 Mad Libs. The Valentine's Day one is technically 2 pages, but it's really big font. And I think it's 1.5 spacing. And then Halloween is just 1 page. They're very poorly written, as all Mad Libs are. Oh, let me see the poll, darn you. There we go. Only 3 of us. And you each said a different one. So I think what I'll end up doing, we'll start with the Halloween one purely because it's shorter, and we'll use it as like a warm-up. So we're going to do the Halloween one. We're going to do it as a warm-up. If you both, and you're both, since there's, again, only 3 of us, you're both welcome to put in an answer, and I'm going to choose whichever one is kind of funnier for the sentence, since I can see it. Or if you both agree, that's also cool. So the title of this one is Amy and Connor's First Halloween. Also, just a reminder, this does not reflect my writing style in the book. So first, a noun. Remember, this is for Halloween. And I feel bad there's just the 3 of us. I'm like, you guys have to do all the work now. Give me a noun, which is a person, place, or thing, if anyone else is watching. Ooh, I'm going to need a noun for the second part too. So we are going to start with pumpkin. And I need another noun. Poltergeist. Sorry. I'm glad no one's going to read these. Like, look at them. So I'm like, poltergeist. How does she spell that? Adjective. Some sort of a descriptive word. I know, putting you guys on the spot. Ooh, which one of those is funnier here? Okay. You're just going to be surprised when I do this, I've decided. I know there are more people who said they were going to join, but I need 3 nouns for this next sentence. Just throw any noun out there. I don't care what it is. I know this is hard. I usually use it. You know those I like crow. Those mental games where they're like, say the first thing that comes to mind. That's how I treat these. Just like whatever comes to mind. 2 more nouns because technically the next one is a noun too. I like crow ghoul for this. Ooh, spider. And one more noun. We're almost at the end, don't worry. So I definitely did spider for that one. I need one more noun. That's the last noun for this one, I swear. Ooh, which is good. Which is very good. An emotion. Just any emotion. Sorry, my neck's all stiff now. Just a random emotion. I like terrified. Terrified and fear are related. So I'm gonna go with terrified just because it works better in the sentence. A verb ending in ing. Sorry, I was like, what was I writing here? And I remember now. Sneaking is funny for this one. Second to last one, color. Just whatever color you're thinking of. Anything on the rainbow. Mauve is a good one for this. And then the last one, should I choose the word best? The word worst. Best or worst for this sentence that you can't read. Sorry, my watch is reminding me to take my vitamins because I'm senile and don't remember. Okay, worst it is because it was the first one up. Okay, so this is terrible, but I thought it would be funny. Amy and Connor's First Halloween by Alexa Shea, Steph Gilmore, and Hazel Halloween. Amy and Connor haven't been dating for long, and it's time for Halloween. Amy has been hounding Connor for weeks about picking matching costumes. She suggested going as a pumpkin and a poltergeist, but Connor thought that was a haunting idea. He suggested going as a crow and a ghoul instead, but Amy objected this time. Satomi suggested spiders, which gave Amy an idea. Putting all of her crafting skills to the test, Amy set about making the perfect matching witch costumes for her and Connor. Surprised about wearing them in front of people at school, but one look into Amy's sneaking mauve eyes changed his mind. He could never say no to her. Halloween came and they were voted the worst couple's costume in the school. The results didn't matter. Connor was just happy to see Amy so happy, even if he did have to pose for way too many pictures. I think they're actually, there's like it's alluded to their first couple's costume. Might have been peanut butter and jelly. I can't quite remember. But one of the things that you'll see in the book that draws Connor in is he gets really like drawn in by Amy's eyes, which are blue. I got to go back and change into mauve now. But that was their first Halloween, according to our Mad Lib. Do we want to do one more? Do we want to just chit chat? What do we want to do? Because this one does have a lot of words to fill in. Their first Valentine's Day, I actually like this story better though than the Halloween one. I wrote the Halloween one really quickly, whereas I think the Valentine's Day one's kind of a funnier story in a way. Okay, if you two are up for another, I know I feel so bad since it's just the three of us. I'm like, you two have to come up with so much. Okay, so we'll do the Valentine's one. This one is my favorite. Because I'm a February birthday and my favorite color is pink. I love Valentine's Day. So I'm glad you guys are up for another. Choose a random number. Any number. I know, we're all writers here. We should be able to come up with words. I'm not going to lie. I'm slightly fantasizing about my breakfast/lunch when this is over. I'm sorry, Hazel. I got to go with 74 because it's funny. That's just seriously how I'm going to choose these, by the way, as I said. Adjective. Water break. You know, if I would have realized we were going to have to use this microphone, I probably would have had a cover that matches my aesthetic more. I might buy that later. I got an Amazon gift card for my birthday. So an adjective, any descriptive word. Excuse me. Also, if you have a greenie one. Also, I highly recommend random word generators if you have a hard time coming up with one, and then just choose your favorite. That's how I do a lot of things. A noun is the next one. Green would be a funny noun, by the way. Just saying. Oh, I like heart. It's a funny word after for what it is. The next two are both adjectives. So if you both throw an adjective out, yeah, if you look like Google random nouns or noun generator, adjective generator, make this even more chaotic. Sultry. Sorry, since I can read it. I love you for choosing sultry stuff. Also, Ardent's a good one. I'm still reading your book. I did not put it down on purpose. I got way too caught up with my book. I'm enjoying it so far, by the way. That's right. Anyone who pops in, Stephanie Gilmore wrote a book. Was Cage the Wolf the first one? Fear the Wolf. Fear the Wolf, right? I have the 3 titles in my head. I am like the worst at keeping things straight. Next is a noun. Fear the Wolf. Yes, it's Fear the Wolf, Cage the Wolf, Free the Wolf. Sorry. Yes, a noun. Actually, this really doesn't have too many now that I'm looking at it. Oh, the next page does. Cake is a good one. A verb. Yeah, verb. I was double checking that an ing verb wasn't needed. Just a verb. I'm gonna do blush. Blushing won't work quite there. An adjective. Also, I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm double checking my phone real quick to make sure nobody was messaging me that something was. Oh, okay. Adjective. If you guys are having a hard time coming up with ones, by the way, let me know and I can pull up a random generator maybe. Sweet. Oh, that's a good one for this sentence too. I think you're going to enjoy this. A noun. Technically, I need 4 nouns kind of coming up. Oh gosh, what is your husband doing? My husband is upstairs a little irritated because I accidentally woke him up getting ready for this. But yeah, I'm going to skip because I need 4 nouns and a verb. Ooh, do it, Steph's husband. Shout out things. 4 verbs. 4 verbs. Come on, buddy. 4 nouns. 4 nouns. Come on, 4 nouns. Do it. Kitten. Excellent. Three nouns. Ooh, salami. Basket. Sorry. I checked where salami was going. Candle. I'll probably need more nouns in a minute. Verb is the last one for the first page. Swoon. That's funny for that spot. We're on the last page, which isn't the full page. A random movie genre. Any movie genre. Which gives away part of the date, I just realized, but who cares? Movie genre. Action, adventure, romance, thriller, horror, rom-com. Ooh, Bollywoods. I like Bollywood. I like rom-com too, but Bollywood, just I like it for this. A noun. I know, another noun. I did a lot of nouns in here. Can you tell this is my first Mad Lib I've ever written? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We only have 9 things left, and then that's we're done. A noun. Rose. A verb. I'm going to do T for the next noun because that works. Because I need a noun next. A verb. Sorry. You guys are making some really random sentences and I'm living for it. I think I'm going to put these in a memory box when I'm done. Beep. I like beep. Beep is funny for this. Adjective. Come on, Mr. Gilmore. Shout out some random stuff. I feel like your husband and I would get along. Nothing quite like trolling. Adjective. Adjective, sir. Oh. I'm using that one. 2 nouns. We're close to the end, I swear. 2 nouns. Naked in a spice-free wine. Gown. Sorry. Book. Excellent. I like book. 2 adjectives. Oh, wow. Book actually works kind of well in that area. Shrill. 1 more adjective. Melodic. You don't use that word enough. And the final one is a verb ending in ing. Is it melodic or melodic? I think melody should be melodic. Fun fact, I can't pronounce words. So that's great. Dancing. That's just a fun verb. No, I'm sorry, Stephanie. I have to change it to clawing because it's so funny in this sentence. And so there's a Steph and a Stephanie, by the way, online now. Hi, Stephanie. You're just in time to hear our second Mad Lib. I had 2. Amy's and Connor's first Halloween. I feel like the Valentine's Day one's going to be better. I spent more time writing this one. They chose some great words. I'll read dancing and clawing in the last one, but I think clawing was just so funny when you hear the sentence. Sorry. They did too good of a job picking these. Connor and Amy's first Valentine's Day. Connor and Amy are celebrating their first Valentine's Day after only dating for 74 months. No Valentines before then. Neither has had a grainy heart before, so they're both nervous about what presents to buy. What do you buy your ardent enemy who you're dating? Amy knows that Connor is... Sorry. Amy knows that Connor is super sultry and she isn't. So she decides to take the sentimental route and make him a cake because he liked the last one she gave him. But what to blush? Connor, on the other hand, can buy whatever he wants because he's rich. I didn't put that in there. But Amy isn't the most sweet person. He knows she'll like something from the heart. Maybe he could write her a kitten? He blushes as he thinks about what to swoon. Feelings are hard, especially for him. At last, the big day is here. They've planned to see a movie after dinner, the classic date. Dinner tasted great, but Amy spilled salami all over her dress, and Connor bumped the basket and knocked it on the candle. Oh, that would be awful. Both were mortified. Side note, Amy's a vegetarian, which is why this made me laugh. Basket into the candle. The movie went a little better. It was a Bollywood about a rose that has to beep a tea. Both teens managed not to spill anything this time, but the movie was just naked. That can be taken so badly. As they sat in the car after the movie, it was time to exchange gifts. Amy presented her gown to Connor, and he loved it. I'm imagining that as she made him a gown. Connor read his book to Amy, and she cried. It was so shrill. She'd never heard anything as melodic. Connor drove Amy home, and after clawing each other goodnight and parting ways, they each went to bed thinking it was the best date ever. See, it could have been Connor drove Amy home after dancing each other goodnight and parting ways, but clawing just, it just made me laugh, especially since we were just talking about Steph's book with werewolves and excuse me. It was perfect. So let's see. We have done some fantastic Mad Libs. I have babbled about yesterday. That would be such a perfect day for werewolves, especially spilling salami. I imagine they'd like it more than Amy. Amy and Artie, her older brother, neither eats meat. I'm wondering if with everything that happens in book one, I've been kind of wondering if they're going to transition towards veganism after everything that they went through. Also, I'm a vegan, so that might be part of why I want to do that. But it feels like a part of their character path that might happen. I don't know how Connor's going to react to that. That could be interesting. Anyways, so we have 15 minutes left in our live here. Does anyone have any burning questions? Oh yeah, Hazel is all for the vegan thing. We're both vegans. We're not preachy about it, don't y'all worry. But we highly encourage people to try vegan food because it's fun. That was actually the best part about going vegan, was trying all the new food that it opened up this whole new world of tastes and textures for me. On top of my stomach felt a lot better because I have a stomach condition. I didn't go vegan for that. It just was like a reward. My body was like, this is what I wanted all along. Plants. And I was like, okay, tummy, you be chill. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent about veganism, but does anyone have any book questions, launch questions, writing questions, book 2 questions? You can ask me about book 2 and I'll answer what I can. Because again, it's very, very vague in my head right now. Yay, Steph, I agree. Vegan food is super delicious. I love it. I have a vegan pizza waiting for me in the fridge and vegan pizza for later. I'm eating a lot of pizza this weekend. I'm going to have Thai. I took tomorrow off and I'm going to have my favorite Thai food as a reward for making it through this weekend because I deserve it. Yeah, if anyone has any burning questions about book 2, because I think I know Stephanie and Hazel have both read book 1. Hazel technically read an earlier version of book 1. But it's the same general plot line. Okay, so no. So Steph asked, did I know writing book 1 that there would be a book 2? I didn't, is the funny thing. When I first started on The Shield, which I'm just going to keep holding it, it was originally going to be a standalone. I had always envisioned this story as a standalone. I'd always envisioned it as focusing a lot on Amy, and it originally started that way. But as I embarrassingly, through my editor, who is Brittany from E&A Editing Services, as she taught me more about POV, point of view, and I realized I was doing it wrong. In order to show certain things, I had to sometimes have the chapters be from Amy's point of view and sometimes from Connor's. And the more I got to be in Connor's head, the more I realized that 1, I love Connor. He's my favorite character. And 2, there was more that needed to happen after this book. Book 1 it's technically both of their journeys, of course. They are co-leads, but Amy is the main lead. And book 1 is a bit more about her journey. As you can see on the cover here, she's surrounded by light going into darkness. I envision the cover of book 2 being Connor surrounded by darkness going into light. Book 2 will focus more on Connor's journey. Obviously, it'll be on both of theirs again. But as I got to the end of it, I realized I wanted to have a different conclusion, and it needed a whole nother book. And I wanted to focus more on Connor. I wanted to talk more about trauma. I personally have a lot of experience with trauma, unfortunately. And it's something that I think I want to explore more. I want to write about more. I'm going to include some disability work in book 2. But that's going to require research. After saying I'd hate research and I don't want to research, I am now researching. Sorry if you could see my husband walk by. Just gonna move that like that. I can hear him laughing upstairs. 12 more minutes, love bug. What would you tell your past self about self-publishing if you could go back to when you first started thinking seriously about this process? For one, I would still say, self-publish. It's worth it. I waited until a time in my life. I accidentally waited to a time in my life where I was more financially stable so I could throw money at things. I still agree you can do it at any time in your life. But for me, in my slightly manic nature, waiting helped. But if I could go back in time, so here's the thing I always tell people who are starting out. One, I would tell myself to study the craft more, study more about writing. I have a selection of books that I recommend to anyone who comes to me telling me, hey, I want to try this too. They're books that, okay, I don't know how to make him not show up. We're just going to turn it like this. It's a selection of books that I'm like, these are the books that were recommended to me that really helped me start to become a better writer. 2, I would tell myself to give myself time. If you're ordering books, like just give yourself time for everything, extra time. Being indie means you can move as fast as you want. And being trad, from my understanding, things usually move a little bit slower. Hopefully he's not walking back again. So being trad, you move as fast as you want. And I was trying to move faster than I was capable of. So I would kind of tell myself to add more buffer. But overall, I think I would stay indie because, like, look at the cover that I got to choose. What if they made a crappy cover? I got to make my own little logo. I have my own publishing company. It's called A. Walter Publishing Company. It's a play off of, I used to want to be a wedding, an event planner. There's going to be A. Walter Wedding was going to be my little trademark. It's going to be like, it's A. Walter Wedding. And I made this design up when I was in high school. Thank you, Bossy. My cat's here, one of them. 9 minutes left. So ultimately, if I could go back and tell myself, it would just be to do more research, honestly. Do more research on writing and do more research on the process, because every lesson I learned, I had to learn trial by fire. I'd pick Bossy up and show her to you, but you pick her up, she goes, I don't know what to do with my hands or my paws. And then I get clawed on accident and it hurts. Yeah, do more research. Just pay attention. But overall, I'm really happy with how this all turned out. I am exhausted and I can't believe I'm going to do this to myself again. But I've thought, so there's book 2, and then I've thought of 2 other book ideas that I kind of want to develop. One is another idea that I came up with as a teenager, and one is an idea that I came up with last night. So and I can tell you about those 2 if you want to. You can legit, this is like an ask me anything. As Hazel knows from real life, and Stephanie, I am an open book, a little too open of a book. So the 2 story ideas I have, obviously book 2. I don't know if there will be a book 3. I didn't know there was going to be a book 2. The Joys of Being a Pantser. One of the story ideas I came up with in 2005. I was 15, and my cat Pooh, yes, we named him Pooh. He disappeared. He was my first ever soul cat, which is funny because growing up together, we hated each other. And then when I got older and he got older, he was one of the most important things in my life. And again, I didn't have the best childhood. And so he was one of those comfort things I had, even though he was such an a-hole. But when he went missing, he was sick, so he went off to die. But when he went missing, we lived in a wooded area. I kind of came up with an idea of what if there was some sort of prince a prince in a mystical land who was running from something, maybe a coup, and he goes into a world and he ends up possessing a cat that gets adopted by a family. And, he becomes very cat like. I don't know if they're going to be a cat people beforehand, but what happens if he, possesses this cat, he becomes really close to this family and he ends up staying for this cat's life over a decade. And then somebody from his world finds him and makes him come back. And so I wanted to be about his story. It was kind of a way of coping with the loss of Pooh, which was spelled Pooh, but we named him that because he kept pooping on stuff when he was a kitten. So very unserious name. And so I thought that would be an interesting kind of like multi-world thing. I don't have it fully developed, obviously. It was just an idea that's always been percolating in the back of my mind, similar to The Shield. And then the other story I just came up with last night, it was just a random errant thought when my brain was like, I'm not going to bed. I have a bad relationship with sleep. But what if there was, it's always a girl and a guy for me because I'm married to a man, but what if there was a woman who prayed every night, and at the end of her prayers, she always said, I hope you have a good day, God, because, when people pray, they're generally, being grateful or they're asking for something. They're rarely checking in with the God, being like, hey, God, what's up? And the God that she's praying to, it's not going to be like the Christian God. I don't know. It might just be like a random God who hears her prayers and thinks she's talking to him. I don't know yet. But what if he hears those prayers and it's the first time a mortal has ever spoken to him about him, and maybe he won't have a gender because he's a god, maybe a female god. Anyways, a goddess. And what if this God starts to pay more attention to her and it's like some sort of weird other supernatural romance? It was just a random idea. I don't know if it's something I'd want to develop. I did actually have somebody comment on one of my videos. I think it was on YouTube. It was on YouTube or TikTok about, asking me if my book is sapphic, or not my book. If my friend Eloise Barr's book, Maiden of Artemis, is sapphic and young adult. And I'm like, well, there are sapphic romances in it. It's the Amazons. It's a very queer friendly book. I'm like plugging everybody's books in all of these, but Maiden of Artemis is very queer friendly. I'm like, but it is an adult book. It's not appropriate for young adults. Of course, when I was a young adult, I was reading stuff I shouldn't have done. So, And the person said, we need more sapphic young adult books, more queer representation in spice-free young adult books for kids. And I was thinking about that, which is why I'm wondering if maybe it's a goddess, or maybe because it's a god, does it need a gender? Like, is it a non-binary god? But I personally don't feel like I'm ready to write from a point of view that isn't mine yet. I actually have a book about writing that I'm going to read very soon about writing from other perspectives. Because I'm a cisgender white woman and I've only ever been in like a hetero relationship. So I don't know how to write from these other perspectives yet. And it's always very important to me that I get them right, that I'm respectful and I'm realistic, which is why in book 2, I'm going of The Shield, back to The Shield. There's going to be some mention of disability and a change in somebody's physical abilities. And I'm going to be researching that and probably get a sensitivity reader because I want to be very genuine to that. But I think it would be interesting to delve into a more queer romance. But I want to be very respectful and I want to be very realistic. But that person on YouTube gave me an idea that I might mix with that because I think it'd be cool, like a gender fluid god. Because it's a god. Anyways, so those are the different ideas I have in the back of my mind right now. But I have to focus on book 2 first. Because, I wrote book 1 and I keep telling people there's going to be a book 2. But I'm going to write those down so I don't forget them. I have never forgotten the cat one. But I don't know if that would be, I think that'd be another YA book. I'm not sure if it'd be adult. But I'm really enjoying being a YA author so far. It's a genre that I've liked even when I'm, as an adult. Thank you, Steph. I think they could be interesting. I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of authors, I didn't with my first book, but a lot of authors, their story starts with, well, what if? But yeah, we have a couple minutes left. Does anyone have any burning questions, fun comments? Anyone who was there yesterday have any fun stories? I am going to be posting about yesterday, by the way. There will be videos. My photographer, bless her, Christina Pearl with Christina Pearl Photography, took a ton of videos for me because I took none. I took like one afterwards. I was so overwhelmed. I should have expected that, but bless her. And she also took obviously professional photos, but she took a ton of videos. So I'm going to share a lot of stories about, what I learned, what I loved, what I could have done better. Funny little anecdotes. I'm going to talk about being a YA author and what it meant to me having actual kids talk to me, because that was just like the best. Oh, one of my friends actually bought a book for their daughter to read when she's older. So I got to sign it to her, to one of my nibblings. I got to write to name, choose your own destiny. And they're like, we're going to have her read it when she's older. Like the thought that my nibblings might one day read my book, just like, it makes me want to do better. Sorry. I'm like addicted to being an auntie and a godmom because I don't have children. I'm child-free by choice. And I love that. Oh, the photographer, Hazel asked, did I hire her? Was she hired by? So I hired her. I'm so extra. I'm like, it is my birthday and my book launch, and I want professional photos. So I hired her. If you've seen my headshots that I use for my profile photos, she did those. She's a brand photographer, which I didn't know was a thing until I started with all this. A brand photographer is somebody who specifically focuses on branding for their photos. So a lot of photographers, they just do headshots. It's people photography. Where she wants to focus on, well, what's your brand? What are you trying to show with these? And she actually helped me figure out some stuff about my personal brand for author Alexis Shea, my website, how I present myself. Like she always wears kind of a cobalt blue, and that's part of her signature. I prefer more of a navy because it matches my book cover. Today I'm wearing green because I was in a hurry, but just a lot of cool stuff. So it is 1:00. I technically don't have to go anywhere yet, but like, does anyone have any final questions, comments, concerns? Are you going to buy my book? But I like to tell people when they buy my book, I'm like, please review it. If you like it, please review it. If you don't. So yeah, last call for questions, comments, concerns. Oh, yes. Thank you, Steph. It's been so cool getting to connect with other authors online and getting to learn about each other. My laptop just told me that the battery is going. Love you too, Stephanie. Okay, everyone, I think that's a wrap. Thank you, Hazel. I can't believe I did my debut. I can't wait to read your work whenever you're ready. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. This was so much fun. I had so much fun yesterday and today. I'm going to crash really hard tomorrow. I'll probably make some content tonight after I watch the Super Bowl with family, and then I'm going to crash really hard. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend, and I hope your is better than mine's been. Bye.